I'm recording this because I have to say it out loud. I'm 87. I gave my children everything they ever wanted, and it was the biggest mistake of my life. I broke them. I broke us all. Let me tell you what happened. It started in 1965. I was 28, holding my newborn son, William. My husband, Robert, was next to me. We grew up with nothing. Hand-me-downs, empty cupboards. I looked at William's tiny face and I swore an oath. He would never want. He would never struggle. Not like we did. That oath. It became my whole life, my religion. 2 years later, his sister Claire was born. My fervor just doubled. Robert worked brutal hours at his firm. I turned our home into a command center. I didn't just make lunches. I curated them. I didn't help with homework. I pre-taught the lessons. Piano, tennis, languages. It was all strategy. Their childhood was a resume I was writing. Robert would sometimes say, "Ellie, let them breathe." But I saw his pride, too. I thought I was building a masterpiece. The first real crack was with William. He was a senior, got into an Ivy League school, but he wanted a gap year. He wanted to work on a fishing boat in Alaska. Can you believe it? I was horrified. I pulled every string, got him a fancy internship instead. That night, Robert finally shouted at me. "You're building gilded cages," he said. "You're not giving them wings. You're clipping them." We didn't speak for a week. William took the internship. He never mentioned Alaska again. I told myself Robert was just sentimental. Then Claire graduated law school. My brilliant girl. At her party, she was too quiet. I found her crying in the garden. She said, "I don't want to be a lawyer, Mom." I never did. It felt like a punch. I said, "It's just nerves. You'll love it." I bought her a condo near the firm. She moved in. She never brought it up again. Years went by. I kept fixing things. When William's marriage had trouble, his wife Lena called me. They fought about money, his job, so I fixed it. I paid off their mortgage. I called his boss and got him a promotion. I showed up with the paperwork. William's face, it wasn't happy. It was hollow, defeated. He just said, "Thanks, Mom," in this flat voice. That night, Robert said, "You've made him a tenant in his own life." I didn't get it. I'd fixed it. What was wrong with that? Then Robert got sick. In the hospital, he held my hand. His grip was so weak. He whispered, "Ellie, my only regret is that I let you do it. We should have let them fall. We should have let them learn to get back up." He died before I could argue. After the funeral, the house was so silent. Claire's calls were short. William visited out of duty. I had everything I'd worked for. I was completely alone. The last straw was after the service. I overheard them in the kitchen. Claire said, "You tell her, I can't do it anymore." William said, "And say what? That my life feels like a script she wrote?" I walked in. The silence was awful. My voice shook. I asked, "What did I do wrong?" Claire looked at me with pity, not anger, pity. She said, "You never let us be ourselves. You loved the idea of us, not us." They left. The quiet that followed crushed me. I had to understand. I opened old boxes. I found William's teenage journal. He wrote, "I have to be perfect or Mom's whole world breaks." I found a drawing from Claire when she was 7, a bird with a broken wing. She wrote me on it. Every trophy, every A+. They were bricks in a wall I built. I saw it then. Every time they struggled, I swooped in. I stole their resilience. I robbed them of their own joy. I was a thief. So I sold the big house. I liquidated the secret trust funds I'd made for the grandkids. I wrote letters to William and Claire. No explanations, just an apology for the pressure, for the prison. I told them the money was theirs, no strings. For the first time, I gave without instructions. I moved to a small apartment. I waited. The silence was terrible. A month later, a knock. It was Claire. She didn't speak. She walked in, put groceries on my counter, and made tea. William came later. He didn't mention the money. He talked about Alaska, about fishing boats. We sat at my small table. It was awkward, full of holes, but it was real. It was a start. They've come back since. It's not a happy ending. It's an ending I don't deserve, but I'll take it. So here's my warning to you. Love isn't a fortress. It's faith. Faith as you watch them walk out the door. They might fall. You have to trust they'll get back up. I gave my kids everything except the right to their own struggles, their own stories. If you're building that fortress, stop. Tear it down, brick by brick, before it's too late. Let them live, really live. That's the only gift that lasts. That's the only gift that lasts. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the silence after I sold the house. I moved into that little apartment. It was so quiet. I'd sit and just wait for what I didn't know. A phone call, a knock, anything. The weeks felt like years. I kept thinking, this is my punishment. This is what I built. I almost called them 100 times to explain the letters, to take it all back. But I didn't. For the first time, I did nothing. I just sat in the quiet. And you know what? It was awful, but it was honest. There was no performance anymore. Just me alone with what I'd done. Then one Tuesday there was a knock. My heart just stopped. That knock. It was Claire. She didn't say anything. She just walked in, put a bag of groceries on my counter, and started making tea. I was afraid to speak. I just watched her. Later William came. He didn't talk about the letter or the money. He talked about the fishing boat in Alaska, how he'd secretly read about it for years. We sat at my small table. The conversation was awkward, full of holes, but it was real. It was a start. They didn't stay long, but they came back the next week and the week after. It was clumsy. It hurt. We were strangers trying to build a bridge with broken tools. One day William brought his son, my grandson Leo. The boy was quiet, watching everything. When William went to the bathroom, Leo looked at me and said, "Dad says you used to tell him what to do all the time." It was a simple statement. It broke me. I said, "I did. I was wrong." Leo just nodded. That small exchange cost me more than any confession. It was the truth seen through a child's eyes. That's when I knew the full cost. I hadn't just shaped my children. I'd shaped the parents they became. The silence in my apartment now isn't empty. It's full of that truth. It's heavy, but it's clean. That silence in my apartment now isn't empty. It's full of that truth. It's heavy, but it's clean. And in that clean, quiet space, I finally see it all. Here's what I learned sitting here at 87 with my shaky hands and my broken heart. I was wrong about what strength looks like. I thought it was a flawless performance, a life without scratches. I thought by removing every obstacle, I was making my children strong, but I was making them fragile. Real strength isn't the absence of struggle. It's the knowledge that you can face it, that you have faced it and survived. I robbed William of that when I called his boss. I stole it from Claire when I bought that condo. I took their victories and made them mine, and left them with nothing but a hollow, borrowed success. I was wrong about what love is. I thought love was control, a meticulous, desperate kind of control. If I could just orchestrate every detail, ensure their happiness, then I was loving them perfectly. But that's not love. That's fear dressed up in fancy wrapping. It was my own fear, my childhood fear of want, that I was trying to cure in them. Love isn't about building a windless room. It's about being the steady ground they stand on when the storm hits. It's saying, this is hard, and I'm here. Not move aside. I'll handle it. Robert tried to tell me. He called them gilded cages. I was so busy polishing the gold, I never heard the lock click shut. So if you're listening to this and you see yourself in my story, maybe you're fixing your grandson's science project, or calling your daughter's landlord, or steering your child away from a risky dream. Stop. Just stop. Take your hands off the wheel. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do. Your job isn't to prevent the fall. Your job is to be there, without judgment, without an I told you so, when they get back up. Don't perform. Just be there. Be quiet. Listen. Really listen. Not for what you want to hear, but for what they're actually saying. When they're 7 and draw a bird with a broken wing, don't just say it's pretty. Ask about the bird. Let the story be theirs. You still have time. Maybe not years, but now is enough. It's not about grand gestures or selling houses. It starts with a single sentence. What do you think? I trust you. I'm sorry. The bridge my children are walking across to me now is built from those small, awkward words. It's wobbly. It might not hold all our weight, but it's real, and that's the only thing that matters. You can't give them a perfect life, but you can give them an authentic one, your own and the space to create theirs. That's my confession. That's my warning. And if this has echoed in your heart, if you see the ghost of a gilded cage in your own life, then please do something with this story. Don't just let it sit here. Subscribe to this channel. Turn on notifications, not for me, but so you don't miss the next story that might shake you awake. Give this a like if it resonated, so others who need to hear it might find it in their feed. But most importantly, leave a comment. Tell me, what's one small way you've tried to fix someone you love? Or if you were the child in the cage, what's one thing you wish had been different? Let's talk about it down there. We learn in the silence, but we heal in the sharing. For me, the work is almost done. I sit in my clean silence, and I wait for their clumsy, real footsteps in the hall. It's enough. It's more than I deserve. Let them live, really live. That is the only gift, the last gift, and finally, the right one.